This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we came from value delivery to MVP. Third is change management. In the initial waterfall approach, whenever there is a change requested on the initial requirement, it used to be a big of a hassle because we used to have scope discussion. We used to agree into the in the terms of money and time based on the scope. Okay, based on how much work assigned, we used to agree on the scope and money. But now our as like more like we did not so here like our value, sorry, here what I was saying, I forgot. So as we were like mostly struggling with the change request because we agree with the scope and the scope was such big deal, based on that we used to give time and cost, right? Because we agreed for a scope, we were not flexibly moving and adapting change. In Agile, we go small increment, right? Small by small increment. Any change happens, we would have not completed the whole project. We would have done a small portion of the work only in few weeks. It is easier to adapt and do rework. Okay, if we have worked on some new feature, right, and we wanted, the customer wanted a change, it's not so damn difficult for to bring on changes. So it is easier for change request. In Agile, the third point is adapting change and accepting change request has become much flexible and easier. Okay. Fourth important is like, because here customer is part of your team. So you have a product owner who's actually the customer, who's the client, who actually involves into every part of discussion, who involves into every part of like your process. So he understands what's going on. So we are not putting the customer like in the dark. He is totally aware of what's going on. So for that matter, the transparency is higher here, right? Because we have customer, so he knows what's going on, right? There is no surprises. So the transparency is a lot better here. The fifth or sixth point is, because the customer is part of our team, so we have a faster feedback. So we don't have to wait for the whole project to get completed to get a feedback on our work. We get feedback very fast, like every 2 weeks we deliver some increment, and every increment before we deliver, we show it to the product owner in a demo, right, which we call sprint demo. We show it, and every demo he gives us feedback that is it working as he wanted, is it working as he expected or not. So that way we get like faster feedback. Okay, faster feedback enables us to work into the right direction. Right, and the last advantage or why Agile is, we have empowered people by creating smaller and focused teams. So we have smaller and focused team who work better. So the customer, like the employee experience also has been better than working in larger team and getting no attention. Here every person gets some attention. Okay, so these are the reason I want you guys to answer exact same way in the interview.
Sure.
Okay, now as I told, like this is going to be introduction to Scrum role. I already told there are 3 different roles, right? What are the 3 different roles we have?
The product owner, Scrum Master, and
The
Scrum
development
team,
team.
development team.
Who's the product owner?
He's the customer.
Okay, but then what is his responsibility?
To see if everything is going as expected, as decided by the team, and to
No,
review the
no, that's
product.
not his role. That's not his role.
Requirement gathering.
Yeah,
Providing the
requirement gathering.
requirement.
Okay, providing requirement. One. What's next?
Visionary of the project, main vision of the project.
Yeah, vision of the project. So he had a product vision. So he understand what as an increment we are bringing. Yes. What's next?
The product owner works on the backlog.
Yeah, so the creating healthy backlog. So there is a concept called healthy backlog. Can anybody explain what is a healthy backlog?
Making sure that
Backlog means the amount of work pending to be done is called backlog. Healthy
Yeah.
backlog means that that should be if that backlog should be done, it will provide more value to the product. So it may considered as healthy backlog.
Everything that is pending to be done for the project is anyways backlog. That's right. And healthy backlog is not that definition. Anybody else?
I can try. I feel
Yeah.
like healthy backlog is making sure that all the necessary work that needs to be done is on the backlog for the
I
project.
think all the necessary things that is needed to be done, yes, that's a backlog, but that's not a healthy backlog. What's a healthy backlog? Healthy
Maybe
backlog. Go on.
if we solve all the backlogs, it may leads to the next sprint.
That's what our target is, that to solve all the committed, not all the backlog. So we commit to solve a portion of the backlog every sprint. That's not healthy backlog. So please
It's
remember, this might be a question. Okay, go on, please.
sorry, go ahead.
Healthy backlog is a concept where the product owner, if we are into sprint 1, right now we are in sprint 1. So we might have some of the backlog committed into sprint 1. So that's called sprint backlog. I will revisit all of this again tomorrow, not tomorrow, on Monday, right? But then please understand, okay, let me share my screen, that's better.
And tomorrow we have class, right? Tomorrow is Thursday.
I forgot, tomorrow is Thursday, you are right. Yes, we have class. I thought tomorrow is Friday, my bad.
No problem.
Okay, so consider this is the product backlog. Product backlogs is owned by who? Who owns the product backlog?
Product
The
owner.
team-
Yes, product owner owns the product backlog. Now, what is the responsibility on a day-to-day basis? He will add new requirement. He will take out the requirement which he thinks no longer necessary, because it's a continuous grooming activity. Regularly, his job is to check what requirements are there, what is necessary, what is not necessary, what is no more relevant, and he takes it out, right? So let's consider for sprint 1, this became a priority. So out of all these pending items, which one has to go to sprint 1? How does it decide?
I think he will
Due
ask.
to
He will ask the customer which are the
No, he's the
price.
customer. He's the customer.
He's a
could be
customer.
due to the priority.
No,
Yes. So we
if that sprint comes to the market, that it will provide value to his business. That's why it became the number one priority.
no, that's not sprint comes to. Like, your understanding might be right. Your terms are wrong. This requirement, like this one requirement, becomes a priority because it might have higher business value. So there is a component called business value. So they understand from the business value assignment happens from 0 to 1 range. If this has 10 business value at this point, that becomes more important. Let's say this work also has like another highest important, so this is 9, right? So this is like the 2 requirement which is most important right now. Then this 2 requirement is prioritized. We call prioritization. Out of whole bucket of requirement, the product owner would prioritize requirement based on the business value assigned to the requirement. If these 2 are high priority requirement and we have capacity to take this to work, this will go to the sprint 1 backlog. Once these 2 orange items are part of sprint 1, then we call it sprint backlog. Sprint, it became from product backlog, it's for sprint backlog for 1, and this is also sprint backlog for 1. Okay, if we can complete both the orange item in sprint 1, then we should be able to complete. So our committed, we committed that we'll complete these 2 things, and we have completed. So we have stand on our commitment. Okay, now what happens next is like in the sprint 2, so before the sprint 2 starts, he need to again prioritize that what should come to sprint 2, right? Now this item and probably this item, this item and this item is the next prioritized item. Okay, this 2 will go to sprint 2, and this 2 will become sprint backlog for for sprint 2. Okay, now for sprint 3 again he does prioritization. So similarly it goes. So what is a healthy backlog concept? Healthy backlog concept is when you are working on sprint 1, he has prioritized the orange ones for sprint 1, but the same time he's also have visibility. He understand, okay, this is what we are doing this 2 weeks. Sorry guys. So this 2 item has become a priority for sprint 1. While people are working on sprint 1, the product owner spends his time on prioritizing the backlog for next 2 sprint, at least next 2 sprints. Okay, at least for next 2 sprints. So healthy backlog meaning creating a visibility that what is coming next for 2 sprints, so that way he can give more clarity that how this can be a continuous work. He can give clarity that okay, while we are working next two sprint, these items are coming. Okay, so healthy backlog is a concept where product owner continuously grooms the requirement while they have clarity on what they are working on the current sprint. He also clears out, at least have a vision or visibility of requirement for next 2 sprints. Okay, if he doesn't know what this sprint we have work, but he doesn't know what next sprint is next sprint, then he is not he's not able to incrementally think. He's not able to incrementally think that okay, we are doing small portion, but what is next? How are we going to implement next? What are we bringing next? So creating that vision is called healthy backlog. That is one of the things Scrum Master takes care that Scrum Master checks with the product owner always that there is a healthy backlog. Meaning he has idea that out of all the 30 requirement in the backlog, which are next 3 or 4 item we are doing next sprint, which are next another 3 or 4 item we are doing the next to next sprint. So that is a clarity we need. Okay, Now next thing is, so please understand always, if your product backlog is a bigger circle, then your sprint backlog is a subset of it, right? So sprint backlog is a portion of work of the product backlog. So this becomes your sprint backlog. Okay. Now, when you are doing, so out of this bucket, which work to be taken, we use a called prioritization technique. Okay, we use prioritization technique. So they might ask in the interview, what are the prioritization technique that you have used? We use Moscow technique or WSJF as a technique. Moscow meaning out of these items which are must meaning must be done. There is no way that we can escape without this feature. These are the functionality which is must needed. Like if you are buying a car, or if you are, let's say you are manufacturing a car, so you must need a handle, you must need a tire, you must need a braking system, you must need a chair or seat. There are few things you need must, but there are some things which you should have, like your say airbag. Airbag is not like any car, like without airbag also is fine to run, at least it will run, but it is like for safety you should have these functionalities. Okay, could have is like a more of, okay, it's better to have, it's more of luxury kind of a thing. So if you think, oh, I need a fog light, or I need like probably a laser light, or I need like sunroof. Sunroof is not a like a must have feature. Okay, or it is not even a should have feature. It's a could have feature. It's good. It's an additional feature. It's good to have. If you have all the must have, should have, then you go to could have features. And then like you have would have. Would meaning I'm still not sure, I'm thinking about it. It's about like, okay, alloy wheels or probably matte finish, right? So matte finish is not even could. Probably if I have more money, I would spend on that, but it's not even like required for me to launch the product. The matte finish can wait, right? So you categorize all the requirement into must, which is must, which is should, which is could, and which is would. By that they prioritize. So all the must has to be done first, then all the should, then all the could, then all the would. And the would feature goes and comes out. Sometimes he thinks, oh no, not necessary, I'll take it out, right? So that's why they divide. So this is called product prioritization, product backlog prioritization technique. I hope you guys are writing. If I ask questions and you are not able to tell, like it's so disappointing then. There is something called weighted shorted job first. This is more of like scaled agile concept. So what happens in here? It's called WSJF technique. So it's called weighted shorted job first. I'll just like quickly give you example. Okay, probably. So this is a technique. Okay, so you have a car, you need oil change. Oil change will take 1 hour time, and you have the same car where there's a time tire replacement work, right? So tire replacement takes 1 day, oil change will take 1 hour, tire replacement will take 1 day, spark plug fixing will just take 5 minutes to 5 days time. Okay, for 1 hour you are losing. If you are not fixing the car, you are not, so let's say you are renting out the car. Okay, So let's say you have put it in Uber. So because if you are not spending 1 hour, you are spending like you are wasting or you have lost $30 an hour. If you do tire replacement, still you are losing 30 per day. And this is like for 5 days time and you are losing 30 per day amount for 5 days. The other example is if you have flat tire, it takes 1 day to fix. And you have a car, it's a car like maybe sedan. You have a SUV or Jeep, which is like for a flat tire, it takes also 1 day. And you have a Ferrari for flat tire fixing, it also takes 1 day. But for flat tire fixing, if you spend 1 day and you fix this, you will earn 30 per day for the sedan you have. If you fix the flat tire for the SUV, you will, because SUV you can rent out for more, you will get $100 a day. And if you have flat tire for like Ferrari, if you fix it, you get 500 a day. So out of these two examples, which all should be your priority? Which one should be your priority?
You should prioritize according to the
Don't
scenario
say
where,
give me
okay,
exactly 1, 2, 3. First example 1 to 3.
basically, less time, I would prefer in that scenario where I'm incurring less time and I'm getting more gains.
Please choose either first example 1, 2, 3. Which one?
1 hour for first example, oil change,
Okay. For second
because
one,
it
which one?
has the lowest hours out of three. Um, Second example, 1 day. The sports car has the most returns on it and same time frame for all three. So the third option.
Guys, okay. Thank you. Who else is choosing what?
I would say the same thing, oil change in the first picture and then the flat tire in 1 day on the second one.
Flat tire 1 day is for all.
Yeah.
No, but for all cars, it's flat tire 1 day. So which one?
The sport car, one on the right.
Okay, sports car. Anybody else?
I would choose the second option, the SUV model,
Why?
because if I have Uber company, that is the mostly want SUVs mostly wanted by the people, and
Okay,
also
they did not talk
it will
about
give
demand.
dollars per
They,
day.
they,
It will give more earnings.
they did not talk about demand. They only talk that how much can you earn for that day. Irrespective, more wanted, less wanted, you will only earn 100 per day. $100.
Ma'am, what is the question here?
What is your priority?
Then I would choose 1 hour oil change.
Okay, next. Joanne,
Yeah,
which one?
I'll go with the oil chain.
First one. In the second example,
I think I would do the first one, the first car.
okay, guys, it is simple, right? So I'm spending less time here and earning the same money. If I'm spending 5 days and earning the same money, why would I not like spend 1 hour and earn the same money? Because that's what like your business value. I'm getting the same money. If I spend 1 hour, I'm getting $30 a day. And here it takes me whole day time. My whole time is gone and I earn the same money. and here I spent 5 days and like I earn the same money. So rather I would fix it in 1 hour and get the money. So that's more value. Okay, the whole 3 type of car takes me 1 day, but I as in like I would invest somewhere. If I spend the same amount of time, I'll earn more money here. Logically, I'm earning more money, which is a business value here, by the same time. So here time is fixed and the cost is higher. Cost is a variant. Here time is variable and the cost is fixed, right? So when they do prioritizations, so they use this technique. What? First like they do a calculation by the calculation here we use is, let me show that example. This is the calculation. User business value. So user business value, let's say 500 plus how time critical it is. It's taking 1 day only, right? Plus how much risk we are reducing for the project. If we release this feature, how much risk we are reducing by release, or by releasing it, we are getting more opportunity. So some of the feature will release, so some of the feature will decrease your risk, because like you you can work that in the market, so it will decrease your risk. Some of the feature, because you release, it will enable or give you additional opportunity, because none of your competitor had the same thing. You are doing something new. That means you will get better opportunity. You are launching something before your competitors does. So you would like to release a functionality which is, let's say like iPhone tops in the market. There are a lot of customers stake. Lot of customers take iPhone because iPhone releases always new functionalities which their competitor doesn't. Like, so iPhone had like better phones like camera stability, more security, so the functionalities which is not given by others. So that has an opportunity enablement feature. Okay, let's consider a car which is like, let's consider a car which is given you much more better functionality than the other one. So they are like, they become the market leader because they have something the others are not. So if that is what it is giving, divided by job size, how much time it is taking for the job size, so that is considered as in like WSJF. So they calculate the value, whichever have the higher value for this, that goes into their list, on the top of their list. Okay, this I tell in detail on the product owner training, so this is just I'm giving a brief. So that's called product prioritization techniques. Okay, so to understand how much of this work we can take into the sprint, can we take randomly two user story, or can we randomly take 3 user story? How many of this work we can take so that we can complete them and release them, is based on 2 factor. I'll talk about this on Monday. Tomorrow I'll cover other topic. Remember, there are 2 factor. One is called capacity, and there is another factor called velocity. Okay, so how much work we can be, or we should be able to take, and how much work we'll be able to deliver, is based on these 2 factors. Okay, one is called capacity, another is called velocity. Okay, now we will go through on the sprint ceremonies, and I'll come back to this on Monday's class. So we are going through like introduction to the Scrum roles and ceremonies and artifacts. So what are artifacts, guys? What do you mean by artifacts? Anyone? What is artifact?
Artifacts are the sprint backlog and the product backlog and the
Yeah,
increments.
they are the example of artifact, but what is the meaning of artifact? When we say artifact, what does that mean?
Objects made by human beings.
Artifacts means deliverable. Okay, what do we deliver? Deliverables are also called artifacts. Okay, so we are going to see what are the artifacts. So we have this 4 manifesto. I made you guys read. It's important. So in your interview, they'll ask you like, what are the 4 manifesto of Agile? So please remember this. 12 principles. We talked about these 12 principles, right? So they may not ask 12 principles to remember, but yeah, there is 12 principles in Agile. So Agile as a practice, it's a mindset. It's a methodology. So sorry, it's a mindset. It's not a methodology, right? It's not like a process, but we can, as I said, if you want to stay fit, how can you stay fit? You can stay fit by doing multiple things. You can run, you can jog, you can do Zumba, you can like do dieting. It's about like the fitness is a mindset, right? To achieve fitness, we adopt different processes. So similarly, Agile is a mindset. If you wanted to deliver frequently, deliver value, you wanted to able to adapt and accept all changes, and you want to be able to deliver in time, so then you become Agile. To become Agile, you have many models. So you have Scrum, you have Lean, you have Kanban, you have extreme programming, you have continuous integration, continuous delivery, you have feature-driven development, and TDD. Those are like for lightweight approach for small size team. If it is team level, 1 or 2 team want to do Agile, then you do all that in the left side portion of the umbrella. Okay, but if you are doing this project level, program level, where there are multiple teams involved, more than 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 teams involved, like around 500,000 people are there in the project program. So those kind of big size teams need to coordinate also with each other. So for those big size team, we do scaled Agile frameworks. So those are scaling across different levels are called scaled Agile framework. So for scaled Agile, we do SAFe. SAFE is called scaled Agile framework. Then we have Scrum at scale. We have Scrum at scale. We have like LESS. We have DAD. These are the frameworks we use for scaled Agile frameworks. Okay. So as I was saying last time, if you guys need certification training, do let me know. I provide certification on scaled Agile framework, which is for Scrum Master, Product Owner, architects, release train engineers. So those certification we provide scaled Agile. If you do CSM, Certified Scrum Master, that is more of a team level certification. But for a fuller approach for beyond one team, we do more of scaling Agile frameworks. Okay, so Agile is an umbrella term for a variety of adaptive and iterative and incremental techniques and methods. Agile method can be lightweight or like fuller approach. So Scrum, in Agile, Scrum is one of the famous framework which is used, I think 70% of the organization who's in the initial stage of their Agile adoption. They just want to get to Agile. They want to do Agile, right? For the initial state of the Agile adoption, they follow Scrum because Scrum is the only model in Agile which gives you a lot of instruction on how to implement Agile. Rest of the models are like free to experiment and understand. They do not give so much prescribed instruction. Scrum is only model which gives you a lot of instruction. So Scrum is a framework within which people can address complex adaptive problems while productively and creatively delivering products of the highest possible value. The main reason for Agile is we are trying to deliver highest possible value. Okay, so Scrum is most commonly used framework. So what happens in Scrum? So we have the Scrum events, or we call ceremonies. We have Scrum roles, product owner, Scrum master, and we have Scrum artifacts. So the product owner is somebody who owns the product, who owns the product backlog. He gives the requirement, and those requirement comes and becomes a sprint backlog, which is a subset of product backlog. So sprint backlog is coming from the product backlog, and we do different ceremonies. So the first backlog grooming, we do a ceremony called backlog grooming. We call it backlog grooming or backlog refinement session. Okay, backlog grooming or backlog refinement session. And then like we kind of like work in 2 weeks. So the sprint duration is 2 weeks. So it's standardized 2 weeks. So some companies does 1 week and some does 3, but 90% of the companies does 2 week sprint. So this 2 week is called sprint.
I just got
Okay.
a question.
Yeah.
So product owner is it the one who create different number of sprint, or Scrum Master?
No, there is no different number of sprint. So if you are on sprint 1, the next will be sprint 2, next will be sprint 3. That is created by the Scrum Master in the tool. But that is true for all. Just like he creates those in the tool.
Okay. And Scrum Master is the one who manage everybody.
Everything, yes. All the management work goes with the Scrum Master.
Okay.
And that includes assigning the work to the
There
team.
is, again, last time I told, there is no assigning of tasks. I told this last time also clearly. There is concept called pulling of tasks. You pull your own task. Nobody gives you task.
Your task, otherwise you lost job.
Yeah, last call we discussed a lot about this. Again, we are back to square one.
Open.
That on your board, if you have 5 items, there are 4 developers. You come and decide which item you are taking. If you're a tester, there are five things to test. You decide which one you're taking first, which one next, which one next. It's you who decides. So that's like 2 weeks. So again, in every day, we do a event called daily scrum, or we call daily stand up. I'll just talk about this in a minute. Okay, daily stand ups. And all the facilitation happens by the scrum master, who sends the meeting invite and makes sure everybody join. So everybody, meaning your product owner should join and your development team should join, which is a combination of a developer and tester. Okay, and then after we do sprint review once the work is ready. So sprint review is basically nothing but sprint demo. So we are showing a demo to the product owner that what work has been completed in your sprint demo. Then the last ceremony we go through here is called sprint retrospective. This is one of the ceremony called sprint retrospective. By doing all the activities in 2 weeks, we create one product increment, small product increment, which is also called MVP, which is called minimum viable product. So a value that we deliver every 2 weeks. So in Scrum, we have 3 roles, 3 only roles: product owner, scrum master, development team. We have 5 events, which is I'm going to tell you next, and 3 artifacts, which is your product backlog is an artifact, a deliverable sprint backlog is an artifact, and product increment or MVP is another artifact. Okay, so this is your another artifact. Give it a minute, read. This is for you guys. Okay. So we create a team size of 3 to 9. Okay, 3 to 9. So generally it is not 3. Mostly it is either 5-member team or 7-member team or 9 or 11. Why do we keep it odd? Why do we keep odd number of team members?
Because even if we take two people are communicating with each other, one will be left over, so he automatically goes to some other person. There is a chance to communicate with everybody. Even but if we have even numbers, every two people will communicate, and there won't be interaction, there won't be cross interaction between the other people.
Totally. So exactly, you are spot on. So because like if you work on um, uneven team member, the communication works best because um, one of the member would be left out and he will initiate the conversation. Right? And then like it is better for the communication. Second thing is like anything you vote, right? To get the consensus. To get the consensus of the project, it is also better if we have odd number of team member, you will get a vote, so you can come to conclusions faster. Okay, so that's basically why we have like odd number of team members. So this is the product owner, like please give it a minute, read.
The folder which we are viewing right now, so is it the same one you sent us on
No.
Thursday or okay?
No, the folder you have given, I have another PPT included.
Yeah, in folder there is a one folder called Agile Master, but there is nothing inside the folder.
Okay, maybe somebody would have seen, because I give access to a lot of people, they modify the folder things too, so I have to check again.
Yeah, there is nothing inside the master.
So please read the description. There is a thing called sprint goal. Every sprint, whatever we commit, whatever we commit, combine together all the user story together has a goal. Why are we doing this? Okay, so why are we doing this? So there is a sprint goal. Okay, so all the user story or all the work that we will commit, based on that, like we have something called sprint goal. Okay. Doing all the development work, meaning he the development team responsible for doing all the work agreed, so they will be working on the work committed. So there is a healthy tension between three role. One is called build the right thing. So build the thing right. So let's build a product right. So built-in quality assures customer value is delivered early and often. So whose responsibility is that? The left one. Out of the three roles, whose responsibility is build the thing right?
Product owner.
No.
Developer.
Development team, I'm assuming.
No. The left one is build the thing right. So let's build the product. So it's about quality, right? The let's build a product right in the built-in quality assures. So we are making sure that what we committed, we are delivering that value. It's the responsibility of a Scrum Master. The right top, build the right thing. So is it a right thing? Is it a right product? It's the right feature. That's more on the product owner. Building the team, let's build and coach the team to enable faster delivery of value. So that's like more on the team. Okay, there are different ceremonies that we are doing. So what are the different ceremonies? So what is a sprint? Okay, give it a minute, read. So either it can start Monday and finish the next to next Friday, or it can start like Wednesday and finish on Tuesday. Some of the teams follow Wednesday to Tuesday cycle, so they got 2 weekends in between. So in case there is something left out, they didn't get time to complete, they have more time to complete during the weekend, so extend hours and they work on that. So that's for them to work, right? So that's for like some of the teams, but some teams also they manage to work like Monday to Friday. That's fine too. So I think I didn't get time to finish sprint ceremonies. Ceremonies, I'm going to tell it tomorrow. We are already the time. Will not start it now. I'll talk about sprint ceremonies tomorrow and Monday on capacity and velocity. And then we are going to work on running the daily stand-up. So Joanna is going to run. So for now, Joanna would be your Scrum Master, and next all sessions, we will run in Agile. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, good.
Okay, guys. See you then tomorrow, same time.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, bye.